So hello and welcome to another Valorant tips and tricks video. Today we are focusing on Killjoy on the map Haven, and particularly defending on the map Haven, and a certain setup that you might want to use that a lot of pro teams used during the Valorant Champions Tour. And it's all focused around this turret just in here. Garage, we can see you have an alarm bot there. Just outside, just inside of Garage, sorry, and an alarm bot and a nano swarm here on B as well. And this was a very common setup. The change had slight alterations from team to team, but something like this was very, very common. And we're going to talk about why it was so common and why it is so strong. So here we have that very same setup that we saw from Crew, I think that one was there. But this final nano swarm, by the way, could be placed on C long if you wanted. It could even be placed as a second one on B. I saw, teams do that sometimes. So it's very likely that this final nano swarm could move about. You can put it wherever you really want to. But this kind of setup was very, very successful in Haven for whoever was playing Killjoy. And Killjoy had a very high pick rate on Haven, I think because of this setup. She also has some very good lockdowns, of course, as well on this map. But this turret is very strong because not only does it see Garage, but it also will turn and see C long for you. If someone is entering onto the C site, the turret will also alert you of that as well. And that means that you just have a lot of control. Of course, there are 5 different ways for attackers to go on Haven. They can go into C long, they can come to Garage, they can come through B, they can go through A short, and they can go through A long. And with this setup, by doing this, you have control over 3 of the 5 areas. Not a massive amount of control, but you have some amount of control and information based on 3, if the attackers go to 3 of the 5 locations that they could go on this map, which is incredibly, incredibly powerful for one character to be able to give you that much just based on their utility alone. And also, particularly for the C long player, this turret was extremely helpful because what it would mean is the attackers would come down here and normally the defender would play safe. They'd just be playing backside here, they wouldn't be peeking, they would just be playing safe because they know they can play off the turret, and the turret would go off, and obviously the attacker has to turn and face the turret and try and kill it. That is when you swing. That is when, as the defender, that's your time to strike, because the attacker isn't going to be able to go from killing the turret to quickly flipping to you and manage to kill you before you've killed them. And so it was a very, very effective strategy for the players defending on C, and the same could be said for the Killjoy as well. The Killjoy could come out here and swing as soon as the turret went off as well, which again, it's a difficult flick. It's like a vertical flick diagonally to go up from this turret into the window of Garage, and so it's just a very difficult thing for attackers to do, and it's going to give you a lot of easy kills. What's more, with this setup, say the attackers try and go down A, and your team has rotated as I've shown here, or your team is stacked up on A, they've rotated, you've managed to sort of delay the stop, and the attackers decide, okay, well, let's rotate. Well, just based off one character alone, you have information of where they're going, no matter where they go. If they try and go to B, you'll know about it. If they come into Garage, you'll know about it. If they go down C long, you'll know about it. And that is the power of this setup, is that you could even do something wacky on defense, right? You could even just stack 4A, and do something a bit weird and just have this Killjoy setup and, play, obviously, retake everywhere else, but you'll have the information that they are there, and just stack A and just, decide, well, let's just do something a bit weird and wacky. And that's the power of this setup. It's always going to be helpful for pretty much no matter what you do, because you just have so much control over different areas of the map. Now, pro teams, they adapted to this pretty quickly. What they started doing was, put someone here. Say you come up against this, right? What pro teams started to do is, just basically spamming the wall through mid and just trying to kill the turret from, a safe location. They either spam the door or they spam through the wall, just trying to kill this turret if they could to, stop that information game. I guarantee you that in your ranked games that will not happen. That you aren't playing against pro teams, so that won't happen to you. Don't worry about it. And this turret is going to give you a lot of control and a lot of information, and probably will help you win quite a few rounds.